What's up, dude? Have you ever experienced the incredible joy of stumbling upon a marinade that's so amazing it becomes a lifelong favorite? Well then get ready, because today is all about my 3 personal favorite game-changing marinades that I've discovered throughout my 20-year culinary journey. My friends, I'm really excited to share with you all these flavor-packed secrets, and without any further ado, now let's go! For marinade number 1, we're starting with this Chipotle soy marinade that I have been making for years and years, and it literally never gets old. And I want you to think of this as an all-purpose marinade. You can use it for beef, you can use it for chicken, you can use it for pork, you can use it for shrimp, you can use it for various other seafoods. To make this, start by adding garlic, shallots, and salt to a mortar and pestle, although you can totally use a blender or food processor if you wish. Personally, if I have time, I always use a mortar and pestle. Putting in that elbow grease and making your marinade by hand just makes it taste better. It's hard to explain, but you could ask 1,000 chefs and I bet you 999 of them would tell you the same thing. This one has the perfect coarse texture. I'll put a link to it in the description. Pulverize the garlic, shallots, and the salt until you have a rough paste formed. Next, add some cilantro stalks, chipotle peppers in adobo, and black pepper. To finish off the marinade, add in soy sauce, and while mixing, you want to stream in little by little your neutral oil to finish. Apply this to whatever kind of meat you're using, massage it in really well, put a lid on it, and then stick it in the fridge. And if you're in a really big time crunch, I would say you could get away with just 2 hours of marinade time, although it's always best if you can do 12 hours and even better 24 hours. But honestly, that's totally up to you. It's going to be good either way. And even though this is your all-purpose marinade, generally for the most part I'm using this on beef or pork. And not just that, I love to take it outside and cook it over hot coals. I feel like that's where this marinade does best. You can use this marinade for all kinds of preparations, but what I've used it for most is carne asada tacos. And not just that, I love using this recipe on flap steak, which is a seriously underrated cut, and I serve that with a really bright green chimichurri sauce. I'll put a link to that exact YouTube video and recipe at the end of this one. Marinade number 2 is an absolute banger. It's a garlic basil marinade that I use mostly on chicken, although it is good on some fish as well. And if you've been a long-time subscriber of this channel, you've probably already made this one. Start by adding crushed, peeled, and roughly chopped garlic to a mortar and pestle. Add a touch of coarse sea salt. Next, add in some chili flakes and some sprigs of fresh stripped thyme and begin smashing and grinding until a rough paste is formed. At this point, you want to start adding your basil, which has been picked off the stem, and I would add about 20 leaves at a time. Begin grinding one batch until it's been broken down enough to add more. Repeat this process until you've worked in all your basil leaves, at which point you want to start slowly adding in your olive oil while mixing, so the marinade will come together nicely. Again, with this marinade, you can get away with 2 hours if you want. 12 hours is better. 24 hours is even better. And if you're a total psycho,
48 hours
whoa,
is the best.
Where did you come from, dude? Stop doing that shit. And even though chicken thighs are my preferred cut when it comes to chicken, for this marinade, I really like to stick to breasts. I highly suggest you pound out those chicken breasts to about ½ an inch thick with a meat mallet. This is just going to ensure that they cook evenly and that every single bite is juicy and delicious. In terms of cooking methods, of course, you can take it outside to the grill, but inside in the pan is also really good for this marinade. What I've used the garlic basil marinade for most is actually chicken Caesar salad. Just having those flavors as the component of a chicken Caesar is incredible. And just recently I've used it to make chicken bacon Caesar wraps that was also unbelievable. Before we get into our third and final winning marinade, let's talk about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Have you ever had that sneaking suspicion that something might just be holding you back in life? And regardless if you have a serious clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or maybe you're just a regular old human currently going through a rough patch, therapy can truly give you some incredible tools to help navigate your life. And I know this deep and personally because I've been doing therapy for over 3 years now. It's just amazing how taking all that stuff in here and getting it out to a human being who really cares and who is really listening can help so much. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be a tough job, especially when you're limited to only the options that are available in your specific area of the world. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's all online. It's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. If you want to sign up and start your matching process with a therapist, you can click the link down in the description, and clicking that link helps support this channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month with BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it really helps you. And because finding a therapist is kind of like dating, if you don't really fit with your therapist, which is a really common thing in therapy, no big deal, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost to you. My friends, asking for help in life can be a truly empowering moment, and so I highly recommend you give BetterHelp a shot. Again, you can click the link in the description. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for what you're doing in this world, and thank you for supporting my channel. Now let's get back to this third and final marinade. Marinade number 3, I will absolutely never get tired of making. It is a chicken shawarma marinade. And this marinade I use specifically for chicken or lamb. It's actually really simple, my friends. You want to just start out with some plain yogurt, and to that you're going to add olive oil, lemon juice, smoked paprika, Kashmiri chili powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, ground cardamom, white vinegar, ground cumin, ground fenugreek, ground coriander, and finely grated garlic, which I just used a microplane to shred into a paste. Give that all a really good mix, and for this recipe, I actually suggest you do pounded out chicken thighs. You can treat them just like the breast for marinade number 2, put them between plastic or in a gallon Ziploc bag and hammer them out with a meat mallet until half an inch thick. The marinade times are gonna remain the same for all 3 marinades. You can do 2 hours, you can do 12, you can do 24, or you can do 48 if you're super freaking crazy. For the cooking method, I highly suggest you take this one out and cook it on the grill over some charcoal. That can only do it a lot of good because that little bit of charred flavor with this specific marinade and that specific cut of chicken thighs is just heaven. The shawarma marinade I've used mostly for shawarma wraps, or it's sort of my version of a shawarma, not gyro. People made fun of me a lot for saying gyro. Gyro? 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 Euro? I don't know what people say, but you know what I'm trying to say. Now, what do you say? Although you could absolutely just use this marinade as a standalone recipe for any kind of chicken or lamb preparation. Thank you for hanging out with me today, my friend. As always, there will be links for all my favorite products and equipment down in the description underneath this video. And I've recently just come out with some incredible merch designs that I'm really proud of. If you want to help support the channel, here are 2 more meat-forward recipes to my left and right if you want to keep learning today. And until next time, you know what?